You may be surprised to learn that people don't join a religion because of some theological belief, what they believe about God, about the nature of human beings, about sin or free will or predestination, but because they want to be part of a community. This is the subject of a recently published book by Robin Dunn, Evolutionary Psychology at the University of Oxford. His book is entitled How Religion Evolved and Why It Endures. Professor Dunbar was interviewed on Radio 4 earlier on this week by Claudia Hammond on the program All in the Mind. His book examines the universality of religion and the reasons people are drawn to religious communities. What people value, he said in this interview, is a bonding process with other human beings. That is what draws them to be part of a community. And he compared joining a religion to falling in love with someone. The same processes, he said, are involved: commitment, deep-seated emotions. As an anthropologist, Dunbar is interested in the persistence of religion and religious communities, its pervasiveness. For as long as history has been with us, he writes in his book, religion has been a feature of human life. There is no known culture for which we have an ethnographic or an archaeological record that does not have some form of religion. Even in secular societies that have become more common in the past few centuries, he adds, there are people who consider themselves religious and aspire to practice the rituals of their religion. Some religions focus on the individual, like Buddhism. Some, like the Abrahamic religions, see salvation, the term he uses, as more of a collective activity through the performance of appropriate rituals, and a few have no formal concept of an afterlife. And interestingly, he cites Judaism as falling into that category, something I would argue is questionable, but that's for another sermon. Religion, says Dunbar, is a puzzle that raises two fundamental questions. Firstly, there is the issue of its apparent universality. There are very few cultures that do not have some recognizable form of religion, some sense of the transcendent. We live in an increasingly secular world, yet belief in religion persists, and it persists despite many attempts to suppress it, even in countries such as post-revolutionary Russia, where religion was replaced with state atheism, or communist China, where religion was outlawed and the possession of religious texts criminalized, mosques and historic Buddhist monasteries bulldozed, religious minorities harassed or forced into re-education centers. Religious belief and religious institutions have survived, often underground. As soon as restrictions were lifted, religion bounced back. The second puzzle, tackled by Dunbar, is the question of why there are so many different religions when we might expect there to be just one. Groups grow, they spawn sects, and they fragment, and there are often fundamental disagreements between them. But if the true religion has been revealed to us, asks Dunbar, why do people keep disagreeing about just what has been revealed, disagreeing so fundamentally that the disagreements eventually give rise to distinct religions? The reason religion has emerged in every society, repeats Dunbar, is because it is a very good way of bonding and keeping social groups together. And here is what I found particularly interesting in what he told Claudia Hammond on Radio 4. He said, laughter, singing, dancing, feasting, storytelling, and the rituals of religion are all elements that help us bond as a group. And when we think about our own Judaism, it features all those things and many other things as well. We sing together, we try to sing together. We eat together, we definitely do that. We repeat the stories of our tradition, as you will tomorrow, Kit. We share rituals which are distinctive to our Jewish way of life, and we bring people together for friendship, support, laughter, and to share sad occasions, and for many other reasons. And all of these depend on psychological processes. Music plays such an important role in religious services. Singing draws up deep emotion, said Professor Dunbar. And he added, these experiences can affect the endorphin systems of the brain. They lift your spirit and make you feel happier and more contented. And in some cases, they even seek the immune system. They find and destroy viruses and cancerous cells. Of course, we also know that religion doesn't necessarily provide immunity from sadness or illness. But I think it is true to say that giving value to our religious communities and being part of them can provide some comfort and strength through those bonds of friendship and through the religious and moral values that Dunbar says are more important than the ethnic or other kinds of divisions that often cause conflict between people. When I think of some of our most beautiful rituals, and when I practice them, I do sense something uplifting and healing, lighting the candles, waving the lulav, going into my sukkah on a fresh autumn morning with a cup of tea, listening to the music of the Hallel, the psalms of praise we sing at festivals, seeing members and guests enjoy a kiddush with good food, talking to each other after a service, and the peace and tranquility that Shabbat brings. All of these and so many more allow me to feel more at peace with myself, at home, as it were. Good religious communities build trust and confidence. They repudiate hierarchy and try to create places where everyone stands on a level playing field. And when there is trust between people, when there is space and to express their own thoughts and feelings, when there is the regularity of Shabbat and the cycle of the festivals and the motivation to look outwards and create a better society for everyone, we find stability and tranquility of spirit. People who belong to religious communities live longer, says Professor Dunbar, but perhaps more than length of days is the quality of our lives, and liberal Judaism and the LJS help us to find ways that promote a good and healthy life. It is for these reasons that religion persists. It's good for us, it's good for our health, and it makes us happier human beings. Shabbat Shalom and Chodesh Tov for the new month of Tammuz, which begins next week.